Hello and welcome to Rajya Sabha News. I'm Tina Jha. Let's begin with the headlines. Rajya Sabha passes aircraft amendment bill that provides statutory status to regulatory institutions in civil aviation. Union Minister Hardeep Singh Puri allays concerns on privatization of airports, highlighting success of Vande Bharat mission and the Udan scheme. Union Health Minister Harshvardhan makes statement in Rajya Sabha on the COVID-19 situation, asserts that India has limited its COVID-19 cases and deaths per million. Informs members that Prime Minister Modi is personally monitoring steps to combat pandemic. And Chairman Naidu suggests use of term physical or safe distancing instead of social distancing, asks government to take decision regarding usage. Rajya Sabha on Tuesday passed the Aircraft Amendment Bill 2020 after clause-by-clause consideration of the bill. Civil Aviation Minister Hardeep Singh Puri allayed concerns of the members on privatization of the airports. He also highlighted the success of the Vande Bharat mission and also the Udan scheme.
So I say with a great degree of satisfaction and humility that the total number of passengers, Indian citizens stranded abroad who have been brought back is close to 1.6 million, 16 lakhs, and about 300,000 to 400,000 have been carried out. This is the largest, most comprehensive process of evacuation and repatriation of Indian citizens or of citizens of any country at any time in history. When you have pent-up demand, when entire country and civil aviation is locked down and since 23rd March, yes, when suddenly on the first day when we opened the western sector, we got not 6 million, we got 36 million hits. Obviously the site will crash. But there were no agents. This was being done directly. And it's despite the attempt of many of my friends to malign this process, we have looked into it. They have acquitted themselves creditably. And privatization of Air India, if I could help it, we would keep it. But with a 60,000 crore on debt, the choice is not between privatization and not privatization. Some of my colleagues should realize the choice is between privatization and closing down. But we are confident that the airline in running way, doing extremely well, will be given to its new owner in order for Air India and that flag to be kept flying. Thank you very much.
The bill seeks to provide statutory status to regulatory institutions in the civil aviation space. The statutory status to these regulatory institutions would improve India's aviation safety ranking as suggested by the International Civil Aviation Organization. The Lok Sabha passed the bill on the 17th of March this year. And let's now listen in to the debate that took place in the upper house.
The central government has one power under clause 4D, namely, sir, the superintendence over these three authorities. Sir, my humble request would be, sir, when there are the expert bodies which you have given a separate powers for these three bodies, why do you have this superintendence power over three expert bodies?
Sir, the increased cases of accidents, more particularly tabletop runways. Tabletop runways is short runways and in the hilly areas. And we have seen accidents in Mangalore and recently in Kozhikode also, sir. And this is really another cause of concern.
I will like to compliment the Aviation Ministry and Mananiya Modi ji for Vande Bharat mission, which is a record evacuation operation in the history of mankind, and it has broken our own records of evacuation from Kuwait.
We are claiming to become a superpower when our air safety standards are ordered to be worse than that of Pakistan and North Korea. How do we become a 5 trillion economy?
And Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman introduced the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code's Second Amendment Bill 2020 in Rajya Sabha on Tuesday. The bill amends the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code to ring-fence successful bidders of insolvent companies from any risk of criminal proceedings for offences committed by previous promoters of these companies. The bill replaces an ordinance that was issued to provide relief to those impacted by COVID-19. And Union Minister for Health and Family Welfare, Dr. Harshvardhan, introduced the National Commission for Allied and Healthcare Professions Bill 2020. Now, this bill seeks to regulate and standardize the education and practice of allied and healthcare professionals. And the Union Health Minister also apprised the Upper House on Tuesday that the early lockdown measures in the country prevented an estimated 14 to 29 lakh cases and 37 to 78,000 deaths in India. Explaining India's COVID-19 strategy, the Health Minister said the major focus has been on facilitating the development of COVID-19 vaccine. He also said the government was proactively identifying gaps and building an Atmanirbhar Bharat that meet challenges of similar pandemics, epidemics, and disasters in the future. The Health Minister also said as many as 40 lakh Indians with the potential of disease transmission were kept under surveillance to break the chain of viral transmission.
With our endeavour to manage COVID-19 through a whole of government and whole of society approach, India has been able to limit its cases and deaths per million to 3,320 cases per million and 55 deaths per million population respectively, which is one of the lowest in the world as compared to similarly affected countries.
Amid the unprecedented and evolving efforts to combat the COVID-19 pandemic, Chairman M. Venkaiah Naidu suggested on Tuesday that all of us must stop using the term social distancing and instead use terms like physical distancing and safe distancing.
Chairman M. Venkaiah Naidu said on Tuesday the society should think and government should take the lead and decide if we need to say social distancing or safe distancing. In the current context, social distancing means staying at least 6 feet away from one another to decrease the spread of COVID-19.
मेरा कहना है इसको सुरक्षित दूरी, रामगोपाल जी बता पाएंगे, सुरक्षित दूरी, safe distance, that will be better word. पारस्परिक दूरी का अर्थ दोबारा होगा, घर में झगड़ा होगा, ये उनसे ठीक है. Yes, social distancing should be replaced by an appropriate word.
Chairman's remark came after member Santanu Sen made a demand to use the term physical distancing through a special mention.
Use of the term social distance has indirectly promoted social stigma, which has led to nearly an attitude of boycotting COVID patients socially, and as its consequences, COVID patients and their family members are facing several inhuman situations. So to stop this social discrimination and social stigma, the term social distancing should not be utilized anymore to fight COVID, and instead of that, physical distancing should be used.
Right.
Demands were also raised to ban online rummy, withdrawal of fare hike in platform tickets and revision of Manrega norms by members through separate special mentions. Kriti Mishra's report for RSTV.
Soon after the Rajya Sabha reassembled, Chairman Naidu informed members that 15th of September marks the International Day of Democracy, adding that legislators are the flag bearers of democracy.
It is a universal value is based on the freely expressed will of the people to determine their own political, economic, social and cultural systems and their full participation in all aspects of life. India is being the largest democracy in the world. The importance of day for us cannot be emphasized enough. Democracy is the thread which holds us together. It is the bedrock of our unity in diversity. It is a binding force which has helped to propel our country on the path to progress. So, democracy is synonymous with our constitution, which itself is the embodiment of democratic principles. Our constitution, while providing enough avenues to citizens for all our own development, also ensures that they are able to contribute meaningfully to the development of this country. This very institution of parliament is a hallmark of democracy, and we, as legislators, are the flag bearers of democratic principle. Let us resolve this on this International Day of Democracy to strive continuously to further enrich the democratic principles as enshrined in our Constitution.
And Chairman Naidu on Tuesday allowed the Parliamentary Affairs Minister to lay all the listed official papers and reports on behalf of other ministers in order to save time. As per the usual practice, ministers lay official papers and statements listed against their names when the chair calls them one after the other.
I have to inform members that in view of the limited functional time available on the special seating arrangements made for the current session, I have acceded to the request made by the Minister of Parliament Affairs for allowing him to lay all the papers listed under the heading papers to be laid on the table and statement by ministers related to department-related standing committees on the list of business for today in the name of other ministers on their behalf. I have further advised the Minister of Parliament Affairs may make himself available in the Rajya Sabha or ensure the presence of either of the Minister of State of Parliament Affairs of laying of papers if he is preoccupied otherwise.
And several important zero-hour submissions were made in the Rajya Sabha on Tuesday. Let's take a look.
Member V. Vijay Sai Reddy raised the issue of Polavaram dues to Andhra Pradesh. Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman sought to allay the concerns of Reddy.
I request the Honourable Minister, Jalashakti Minister, to immediately take measures to release the funds for the Polavaram project so that it could be completed by the target date of December 2021, sir.
Sir, the Honourable Member has raised a very important issue, and it definitely matters in the interest of the national infrastructure projects also, because that being a national project. The discussion with the Finance Minister of Andhra Pradesh has been going on. I am also in touch with the Water Resources Minister so that we can get this cleared at the earliest, because there was this gap because of the CAG certification, which Andhra Pradesh has apparently given. We'll follow it up, sir.
Member Vikas Mahatme underscored the need for restriction on the content of web series and TV serials. Chairman Naidu admitted the issue is serious.
मेरा ये कहना है माननीय मंत्री जी से कि वह कोई कानून लाए जिसकी वजह से ये वेब सीरीज पे प्रतिबंधन लगाया जाए.
Very important issue, but there is no law as of now, I am told, but it has to be examined.
Member M. Shammugan emphasized the need to include tenancy and leaseholder farmers within the ambit of the Pradhan Mantri Kisan Yojana.
I would urge upon the Honourable Prime Minister and the Honourable Agriculture Minister to include the tenant farmers and the leaseholders farmers, as although in the PM Kisan scheme, as they hold the land for a long tenure of years.
Member Ram Gopal Yadav demanded an unemployment allowance for people who lost their jobs due to the COVID-19 pandemic.
मैं गवर्नमेंट से आपके माध्यम से अनुरोध करना चाहता हूं कि जो लोग लॉकडाउन की वजह से नौकरियों से, मजदूरी से अलग हो गए हैं, उनको प्रति माह कम से कम 50 और 15,000 रुपया भत्ता के रूप में दिया जाए, ताकि वो कम से कम भूखों न मरें और वो जिंदा बने रह सकें.
Issues of mental illness and constitution of the Krishna Water Disputes Tribunal also found resonance during Zero Hour. This is Kriti Mishra's report for Rajya Sabha TV.
And that's it from us in this bulletin. Thank you for your time.